Hey guys, wanted to make a video, and I might make several of these videos because we can get really in depth into base building, and I think a long video it just bores people, so trying to break it down. So as you know, bases are a hot topic with me. The reason is we won CWL, but I felt even base wise we still was nowhere near where we could and should be, and we were relying on last ditch efforts, which more often than not we did pull out the bag, which is a really good thing to have. But I feel base wise there's too many common mistakes in the bases that some people run, and also the kind of old school now. The meta has changed. I'll go into more detail on different videos, but I wanted to show you really a bit of a spring trap guide and a inferno guide, because I feel there's just still too many mistakes on it. So I'm in sketch here after building some scenarios. And if we go into infernos first, I think there's a lot of confusion of what the queen can reach and what she cannot. So essentially the queen can fire 5 tiles. She can't reach the 6th tile. So what is 5 tiles? So effectively each defense generally is 3 tiles. So a cannon is 3 tiles and a wall is 1 tile. So effectively, if I get an arrow here, if the queen is here, she cannot get the Inferno tower. A real simple way to gauge it is if you imagine the wall's 1 tile, a defense is 3 tiles, so that's 4. And you see, if I can get rid of that and sort of just draw in between, you'll see there is a line in between the cannon and the Inferno just there. That represents the 5th tile. So the Inferno being in that position is 6 tiles. She cannot reach it. The absolute God-given rule on base building is no Inferno should be able to reach by the Archer Queen on the outside of the base. It's just a waste. Your Infernos probably save more 3 stars than pretty much most other defences. So the bottom left one is a tick. That Inferno is 6 tiles from all angles. And again, when you're building these type of compartments, which are the current trend, and I'm a massive fan of them, it's really hard to understand, especially when you're curving these walls round here, what's correct in terms of what the Archer Queen can reach. And even I find it difficult at times, but I've found a simple way of working out how you do it, with it being idiot proof. So essentially, if you build a compartment and you've got gaps obviously all the way around the Inferno, and then you put your defences down, if you start the defence 1 space forward and then start to curve the walls in, providing that cannon has got a gap between the Inferno, then there's no way that she can reach it. Also, one other thing to point out when you're building compartments, if let's say an attack was coming from this direction, maybe expos and things in there, again they cannot reach that Inferno. It's 6 tiles, because you've got the one wall piece makes 2. The defence is 3b3, which would fit in that gap there. Let me just go on to it to draw it. It would go in that gap there. And again, one thing to be clear, they can't reach it. Obviously, if they break in the walls, it's good. One of the things to the curved walls, well, there's two big advantages to having some curved walls within the base. The first one is having the curves. It massively keeps things like Yetis in range of the inferno towers, because they go up these grooves and curve round like that, and it keeps them better in range than, say, the top compartment where they have to walk in an L shape to get round. So that's one good reason to having the curved walls. The second really good reason to having curved walls is funnel. It's really difficult with queens with these walls being curved, and not only that, having these extra wall pieces round which are just curved, it makes funnels really difficult. So there's two really good things to point out when building bases. Having some curved walls, depending on the style of base, can be a really good thing. So moving on to the second one, second inferno. This is a no-no, and it's simply because, let me just draw it, is the tile is one wall piece, the defence is 3, there's no gap in between the inferno and the defence. So essentially the queen could fire from that angle. She can't fire from, say, this angle, because you've got the gap in the wall piece in between the mortar. So so you have to be careful, and I'm seeing bases run, I'll be honest, and the infernos are reachable, and it's a massive no-no. Just moving to the 12 o'clock compartment, again, nothing wrong with that, even though it's a squared off one. One thing to point out where this is different, and I will put an arrow here to show. So if an attack's coming from this direction, that inferno is out of reach, even though this particular compartment here looks smaller, which it is, but it's the fact that the inferno, if you see here, if I can just draw it, is one tile extra away from the walls. And that's, you've got to think how you protect your infernos. It's a really key thing, and really key to offering defence. So just coming back to what I'm looking at, well, certainly infernos at the moment, the current trend is definitely singles. My personal preference, I like 2 single, 1 multi. Why do I like a multi still? Just in case somebody tries to spam you. I think having 1 multi, possibly more on the back end, and the singles nearer the town hall. The singles really stop the queen charges. One thing to point out, which I picked a tip up from a pro builder actually only the other day, is if, let's say, you have a multi-compartment, let's say the other 2 are single, and you have a multi-compartment, one of the good things to do is put heavier defences in that multi. So as you can see here, hang on, let's get the tooling right. I'm running an Expo, a cannon, and an archer tower all in there, which is, you know, quite a lot of DPS. So as the inferno is slowly burning them away steadily, it's actually, with the extra DPS in there, it makes it go down quicker, and hopefully deletes the attack or halts the attack. Another good thing is, just to point out, is high hit point storages are great when troops are heading around the inferno compartments this way, whether it's bowlers or miners or hogs. It's great for anything that targets, not so much hogs, because obviously it's DE storages, but what I'm saying is anything that would target those witches, it really slows them down, and it slows them down so they're in range of the inferno longer. That's what I'm trying to get at. So just some tips there on infernos, because I feel a lot of people are struggling with it. Springtrap guide, just very quickly, because I don't want this video to go on too long. I've built some scenarios at the bottom on spring traps of what's good to look for and what's not so good. So if you start with the 3 green ticks, all good placements. Diagonal spring traps are probably the best out of there. If you've got hogs attacking you, a diagonal spring trap nearly always flips 3 hogs, probably 90% of the time. If you get one like this one here, which is just a box standard one, that's a good placement. Quite often we'll spring 2, not 3, but it's still a solid spring trap placements. The issues when you have particularly this one here, which I'll show up here, is that you are relying on it's what I call a directional spring trap, and essentially if hogs are coming here, it will only work if the hogs come from this direction, because they'll jump over the wall and then spring. If, let's say, we reverse that and they come from this direction, trust me, they won't hit that spring. So you try and avoid avoid those kind of springs in the base, because you rely a lot more on luck than something like this or like this or like this. This one, again, it's not a disastrous spring trap. It's not ideal. Again, you're relying on a bit of luck, and it depends on which way the hogs are facing that trap, whether how many spring off it. So I hope that's helpful. One other thing, I'll come back to Inferno just briefly. One of the good things I've found when running singles is to have skelly traps in there, or particularly a hero. And the reason of that is when, say, an archer queen is going to attack around that area, if the king meets the queen, it gives the single inferno a longer time to lock on. So I think a hero in a single inferno compartment is a really good thing. And also skelly trap. Again, you imagine an archer queen walking around the inferno box, skelly trap comes out, it stalls the queen, it gives that single inferno a lot longer to lock on. So they might seem really small details, but in terms of defending, which is very difficult at the moment, these are massive things to look out for. So that's it. I'm going to post this. Hopefully it'll work. I'm a bit of an amateur, but I feel that if these are beneficial to people, there's quite a few more I can do. So that's it from me.